Okay. Sharon, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Sharon, could you please just brief us what's happening in the workshop that you've just covered?
Well, we talked about the importance of networking your way to your next job, which I think is incredibly important here in Hong Kong because everyone talks about the Chinese value of guanxi. And we most often as journalists, we think about guanxi as something we report about as politicians and businesses are using to get ahead and gain power and wealth. But actually, it's the way journalists need to think about building connections to advance their own personal career.
So have you ever you yourself experienced anything by using Guanxi, well, using connections and trying to do networking to get a job or something?
Sure, I've worked at the Seattle Times for 13 years, but in that time I've had multiple jobs within the company. And there have been times where through networking other companies have offered me jobs which I've turned down, but of course which has forced the Seattle Times to help craft a job I wanted at the Seattle Times. Not to mention networking is how I source out candidates for the Seattle Times. Whether, I don't hire that many people internally, I'm on the summer internship committee, but I run into people for candidates for that from networking. People frequently ask me about job candidates just because I know a lot of Asian American journalists, and I'll go back to who have I met in AJ, whose work do I know? And we just hired an editorial writer recently who networked with me over 10 years, as she went from broadcast to digital journalism. And then I referred her to my boss who hired her for a job within the Seattle Times. And that was on the strength of her networking and her strength of her skills as a journalist. So the key is networking plus being a great journalist.
So apart from getting you a job, what are the other benefits that networking actually bring you?
Oh, huge. Getting advice. So if I'm working on an interesting project, I don't know, I was just asking Paul, hey, I want to do this photo slideshow presentation for this op-ed project, opinion project. So what are the various platforms you would recommend? So things like that. Or it can be, hey, I'm dealing with this really tricky situation with my boss and I don't quite know how to handle it. Who is someone I know who has been in my position before and has dealt with it before, who can give me advice for that? I mean, that's really important benefit of networking. Not to mention, sometimes you're just not happy, right? And you need a support network. So, that's actually really common at AJ. You'll go to a convention and someone will be like, I hate this job, I'm leaving journalism. And then everyone will rally around them and remind them why they love journalism and why they should stay in it.
So who are you suggesting, fresh graduates to meet, to network?
Well, I think, Paul Chung made this comment in our networking session, which was, you have to think about networking as multidimensional. You're networking sideways, downwards, and upwards. And I really think that's true. Who knows, an intern I work with at the Seattle Times could one day help me get a job somewhere else, may refer me for a job opening. So students shouldn't just think about the people who, are high-powered, they're Asia bureau chiefs. They want to think about other people they can get advice from to get better work, so experienced journalists. They want to think about each other because the people you know now can help give you job leads later on. And also that person that's just one rung up. That's really important if you're a broadcast journalist, to know a journalist who's working at a station at a small market. Because when that person leaves, they'll tell you, and then you apply for their job. And there are people within AJ who have moved up in markets through those relationships.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for your time. Josephia.
Josephina?
Josephia? Yes,
Okay.
your name isn't it?
Nice to meet you.
Okay, thank you.